On the next all-new episode of Lazarus.
This group, enshrined a post-singularity AI as a superior being and worships it as a god, they're cut off from society. Isn't that an ideal hiding place?
That's where I grew up.
Elena, it's great to have you back.
The outside world is fraught with false information. Hopefully it won't take long to undo the brainwashing you've suffered outside.
Lazarus. Next Saturday at midnight on Toonami. Next day on Max.
What is it you want?
We have come to declare war.
When the Shinigami and the Quincy's engage in an all-out war.
This so-called rebel army is, in fact, an army of Quincy's.
Ichigo and his Zanpakuto are ready to answer the call.
What did you expect? He's not the type of guy to sit back and do nothing.
Kitsuga!
Must be Ichigo Kurosaki. He leaves us no choice. He must die.
The final battle begins.
You really are an extremely difficult person to deal with, aren't you?
Sharpen your swords for the return of Bleach. 1,000-Year Blood War. Premiering Saturday, May 17th at 12:30 a.m.
I promise I'll protect you all!
Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Hello everyone, welcome to Toonami Therapy on May 2nd of 2025. I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
And if we sound a little tired, it's because we had a bit of an adventure trying to get everything set up right to record this. So, but things seem like it's okay now, so that's good at least. Other thing to notice is that they announced the day after we recorded the previous podcast some pretty important news. Namely, we know what is coming up next. We know the replacement. We have it confirmed. We are getting Blue Exorcist Season 2. And also, we are going to actually be getting the Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War arc on Toonami.
Yep. Yeah, that's good news.
Well, I wish they had announced it a day before, because now I look like a complete idiot going on about my thoughts on it and saying all these things that that I'm thinking, oh, well, now I'm just going to say all this stuff again when we watch it. The good news is that I'll still be getting at least a somewhat new experience, because I did watch most of it dubbed in Spanish, so I'll get to see all of it in English now.
Yep.
So yeah, that's basically it. And I just was, once I saw that, I was thinking, oh, why did I waste all this time talking about my random scattered thoughts on it when I could just say them all when we actually watch them? So we got that, and yeah, pretty big news. This upcoming week, although this episode will probably be put up because of us recording later after all that stuff airs. But yeah, this next week we'll be finishing up with season 1 of Blue Exorcist. They'll air the final episode of Common Side Effects, which will go off Toonami, and then the week after we've got all this stuff. So yeah, that's going to be.
We got no week after that. We have a Lazarus marathon.
Oh, right. You're right. I forgot there was a marathon in the middle of that. Okay.
There will be one new episode, and then the rest of the night will be rerun.
Okay. Right. I got mixed up. I forgot that. Okay. So we do have the Lazarus marathon that week, but then after that, we'll be getting Blue Exorcist and Bleach, which will hopefully improve the quality of discussion and improve the quality of programming on Toonami as well. Okay. So, now that we've gone through all of that, I suppose. Oh, wow. I meant to say that before we get into it, last week we talked about how we were going to watch something. We decided to watch the, I don't know if it's long enough to call it a movie, considering it's slightly less than an hour long, but we did watch Look Back. So we'll be discussing that at the end. We'll probably be getting into some spoilers. I just mentioned that just in case you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, I need to go and watch that now. So we're just gonna, I'll just mention that here. All right. Okay, I think that's all of it. So let's move on, and we'll be beginning with Lazarus episode 4. All right, so basically they find out that this one, basically they decide that they need to try to, they basically do the thing. Remember in Dr. Stone where they had that thing where they where they just tried to where they needed to like get in with the leader of that village, so they just had a bunch of the girls, try to become. I can't remember if try to get his affection or whatever. Yeah, it's basically what they're doing here. And just like in that, the bad guy is really bad guy, so you don't have to feel bad when they get beaten up, because it turns out, he just tries to drug all the girls so that guys can do things with them. But, of course, the main character who gets, the character who gets picked, I can't remember her name, unfortunately. Actually, I don't think I can remember anyone's name on this show so far. I am not very good at names. Yeah, but she's like, I guess, resistant or whatever. So yeah, she's able to beat all. There's a whole lot of action. And then after all this stuff has happened, well, yeah, it turned out he didn't actually know anything about Skinner anyway. So basically we just got a bunch of action out of this, but didn't really find out, but didn't really get that much from it. In the end.
Yeah, felt like a big waste of time, really. This episode was actually pretty entertaining, though. It was good television, and I loved how the one male character was the one who the guy decided to go after, and as usual, that's the way it works, because you're right, that happened in Dr. Stone with that other guy. I forget what his name was. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. It was Kinro or Ginro. I can't remember which one has the name, because they're the two brothers. But it was the blonde-haired one. I think that's Kinro.
Yeah.
Or is it Ginro? I think it's Kinro, but I could be wrong. It's a 50-50 chance.
Okay, 50-50 shot. Yep.
Actually, let me. I need to look this up. Did I get it right? Which one is Kinro? That was my prediction, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I lost. Sorry, Ginro was the blonde one. Kinro was the one with the darker hair.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it was like when you look. I guess when you look at it plot wise, yeah, they didn't really accomplish much, but we had some good action. There was some good fun here. I feel like what I saw someone say was that the problem with the series was kind of before this, it was just kind of just style and no substance. And this episode was, well, mostly style, a little substance.
Yeah. That's a good way of describing this show. All style, no substance. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So, but hey, still, style can work, and it continues, I would say, to be probably the best in a while of any of the Toonami original anime series. So we'll see how it ends up. In the meantime, we move on to Blue Exorcist episode 24, and I'll be honest, my enthusiasm for this after I found out, oh, we're getting season 2, which just means that this and the next episode aren't going to matter. I mean, they already don't matter because they're filler, but knowing we're about to get episodes, it will just ignore them, make me care even less about them. But basically, they fight off. Let's see, right. So Satan possesses Yukio, and they manage to get him unpossessed, basically. And that seems all great, but then Satan's like, haha, there's fools, there's one episode left. I'm not defeated yet. And yeah, that's basically it.
So they have to defeat Satan. Then what does it mean whenever Satan comes back next season, you know?
I am honestly very curious to see what they'll do at the start of the next season. I just want to know, are they actually just going to, as if the last 6 or 7 or whatever episodes never happened, it'll just go straight into the actual thing with no explanation, or if they'll at least give some sort of indication, yeah, those last episodes didn't happen, maybe a character will break the fourth wall and say, yeah, by the way, those didn't happen, or maybe Reen will just wake up and say, man, that was a weird dream, felt like it went on for a while.
Yeah.
I am legitimately really curious to see how it handles.
It'll be like, yeah, all that was just a fan fiction that one of the characters wrote, and such a character didn't really die, and and stuff like that.
Yeah, a character, or like that season of Dallas where they just say, yeah, so a character I think wakes up and a guy comes out of the shower who died in the previous season and reveals that the whole previous season was just a dream. Yeah. So anyway, ignoring the fact though that this is just, it doesn't matter. It was okay. It's because of the fact, like, just even looking at it in its own merits, it's just they're rushing so many things, bringing in things because of course this wasn't where anything was supposed to happen. It's just stuff they made up because they needed a fast conclusion.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for Blue Exorcist. We'll move on then to One Piece episodes 721 and 722. Yeah, those are the right numbers. Okay, so basically we now get to Doflamingo, and we do find out what happened with Law, which basically was, Doflamingo beat Law, although he didn't kill him, and so then Luffy decided, okay, finally, we're just going to fight already, aren't we? So they start, there's a whole bunch of that.
So basically, what wasn't that the episode where Doflamingo sought Law and then sought him a few times?
Yeah, and then Law was okay because I can't remember. I think he just used his powers for something.
Yeah, he somehow survived getting sought multiple times, and then at the end of the episode, he's like, "Wait a minute, Luffy," and so he obviously has to have some sort of like grand exit from the show, and. And the bird cage is shrinking, right?
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Bird cage is shrinking, and people are running for their lives, and I'm like, at the speed it's moving, it would close in within about like 5 to 10 minutes. It wouldn't take a whole hour, and these people running for their lives, they would be already dead. So this is so unrealistic that anyone is surviving this birdcage closing in because you can tell it's moving fast, but the show kind of makes it out that everyone is able to survive somehow, even with buildings being toppled over and fires everywhere. but no one's hurt somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good old One Piece for you.
Well, it's because all that's being destroyed is the abandoned warehouse district. That in case I flew over anyone's head, that's a Power Rangers joke. Apparently, some episode just stated that the monster fights take place in the abandoned warehouse district.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I will say one thing I did actually like is a part where Doflamingo is trying to convince Law because Law has that. He has the ability to basically, at the cost of his own life, essentially make someone immortal. And Doflamingo wanted him to do it and said, "Hey, I'll give you anything." And Law says, "Oh, anything? Okay, well, bring Corazon back to life, then lick the butts of everyone in Dressrosa." And I'm like, okay, that was a kind of cool line. Okay. It's like that bit from did you ever see The Princess Bride?
No.
Oh, okay. It was something similar to that. There's a part where the bad guy who is like killed this one character's father, and he's just like saying, I'll give you anything if you spare me. And he keeps saying, well, will you give me? And he keeps listing all these things. He goes, yes, he says, and then he just, he's saying, I want, and just lists all these things. And he just finally said, well, I want my father back, and then just kills him. So it was kind of like that. Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything else to really say about One Piece, so I guess we can just move on from the Toonami series over into our non-Toonami series, some of which we're finishing up this episode. Oh, wow, I just realized just now, I didn't say at the beginning, wow, we're on episode 300, or actually what number is? Yeah, 400. I was off, sorry, which I didn't say at the start. I should have said it because it's a big, grand thing. And yeah, that's all I got to say there. Well, maybe it's a good thing I didn't say it then, because then I would have messed the number up right at the start. So, okay. So, we go on to Yu Yu Hakusho, episode 52. Well, this episode, it decides, well, there's no point. We're not even going to try to give you any kind of suspense. We'll just call it the death of Genkai. So, Genkai dies. Okay, anyway, next episode. Okay. Seriously, what happens is Genkai fights Toguro. We find out some of their backstory about how they used to be fighters with each other. They used to be allies, and they won the Dark Tournament. Toguro wanted as his sort of wish to become an immortal demon and become and such, so he wouldn't age. Whereas Genkai was just like, yeah, just don't bother me again. With Dark Tournament. So they fight, but since Genkai basically gave so much of her power to Yusuke, Toguro's beats her and kills her, which makes Yusuke really angry, although he then goes off with although he doesn't actually fight Toguro at that point. Let's see. Right. And yeah, that was the main stuff there. They get Toguro. We get the backstory, and then Toguro kills her.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Even if it was just kind of that, I thought it was a pretty solid episode on the whole.
I thought it was not as exciting as it should have been. Like, if we were going to have a character death, it should have been a little more exciting than that. But yeah.
I just think they shouldn't have spoiled it writing the title.
I didn't believe it. I'm like, okay, yeah, it says the death of Genkai. Maybe she isn't really dead. So, and I still don't believe it. So even now, I still don't believe that Genkai is dead. So, we'll see if I was right or wrong about that.
Well, we have had one character come back to life after being killed, so
yeah.
All right. Or maybe she just went off on an isekai adventure. What kind of cheat skill do you think Genkai would get? Because so many of them, of course, just have the person just get that. The people in isekai just getting some crazy cheat skill has become so much of a stereotype that, like, literally isekai series make references to it now. Like, a character dies and they meet like some god, whatever, who offers, hey, I can send you into another world. They're like, yeah, do I get a cheat skill? That people literally do. It's that tired of a trope that isekais are referencing it.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that was Yu Yu Hakusho. So she's gone, and then we're gonna go into the final round. All right. After that, we move on to the end of season 2 of Shangri-La Frontier. We're on episode 50. So they're gonna go into the competition, except Pencilgon and Sunraku don't want to give up their real names, so they just come up with the names with no name and no face, if I remember correctly. And Pencilgon just gets this cosplay outfit and then gets one for Sunraku that he has to wear because he wants to keep his face covered still. So they got that. The other thing is that Kay, just some sponsor tells him, hey, I know you're going to be doing this super important thing here, but we need you to go do this other thing for us. So basically everyone decides, okay, well, we'll just have you play last and we'll try to stall so that by the time you're done with your actual thing, it'll only be then that it's your turn.
Yeah. Which I'm like, what kind of gaming company would like do such a thing? You know, that doesn't even make any sense. So you know someone's in a huge gaming tournament, and what you're going to do is like, no, you got to be in our tournament instead. I guess it's a futuristic world, and I shouldn't think about it too hard, but I just thought that was rather weird.
Anyway, so they basically do that, and then we get that complication, and then they're going to start the actual, the actual match, and that's basically the end. It's go read the manga.
Isn't there a third season coming?
Yeah, there is a third season coming. I'm just saying for now, that's all you get. You're either going to have to read the manga or wait for it. I'll be honest, I actually did read it. I just went and read this whole arc already, so because I didn't want to wait. So I went right into that. That's why I was having a little trouble giving the description of the plot, because I was thinking, okay, I was trying to think, at what point did the episode end? Because I had read everything that happened afterwards. It's like this episode, it ended before the part where they explain that they basically have some crazy translation technology that lets the people communicate with each other in game, even if they don't speak the same language, right? They didn't get to that yet?
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that happened right after. So yeah, and that's kind of an awkward spot to end the season, although honestly it's probably less awkward than last season's ending.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So ReZero next.
Well, anything you want to say about
I forgot. I'm a little tired of Sunraku's obsession with wearing masks and stuff, but I guess it's become a bit at this point. So yeah, I don't know. I did love how Pencilgon, or whatever her real name is, was soaking in all those people cheering for her like that, and that other girl, Megami, is it?
Which other girl do you? Oh yeah. The other one on the team. Yeah, that's her name, I think.
Yeah, how she was getting all annoyed about it. And yeah, that was pretty funny. That was pretty entertaining. Not sure exactly how I feel about the whole 3 versus 4 thing. Like I assume what's going to happen is that well, don't tell me, but I assume that they're going to like draw out the battle like long enough that it's like at the very last second Kay is able to show up. So that's my prediction what happens, but we'll see. I like that. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. I knew I wanted to say something. I really feel like I enjoy the show better when it's not actually the Shangri-La Frontier video game. It's like whenever they're not doing Shangri-La Frontier stuff, that's whenever I like the show the most. So that was the same here too. So
yeah. Yeah, this was fun. Having read the next arc, I just got to the end of it, I think about an hour before we tried to start recording because of some of the problems we had to start. And yeah, I thought it was a fun one. I think it'll be good when we see it in anime form, whenever it'll be. There's some pretty good stuff in it. I thought it was, I liked the part because I won't get into any spoilers, but there's a part because I think it was mentioned before that the villain characters, if they kind of role play or do some sort of villainous thing with the NPCs, it like powers them up or whatever. And then when Pencil God in her match is doing that, she's so completely over the top about it that it's just so hilarious with it. Like basically forcing the NPCs to do things for her, and it's just it was just and it's just so crazy over the top villainess with a bunch of this stuff. And I like some person, we might have to cut some of this when we broadcast it. It's just really funny. Anyway, so yeah, I am definitely excited for the next arc because it looked good. And plus, if you're a fan of Kay and Pencil on, then and Sunraku, their interactions, you're going to get a whole bunch of them in this. It is kind of weird how it just decides, okay, all those other characters, they're just gone for a while.
Ray.
Yeah, Ray, Akitsu Akane, Emil, the Rust Mole, they're basically gone for this arc. It's just these guys and Meg, and also, the other team, although the only one person on the other team that's particularly interesting is Sylvia.
And the rabbits.
Yeah, Emil was the rabbit. That's what, I guess there were some others. Incidentally, I just happened to see, because I saw it on this thing. They actually recently had a character popularity poll for the manga. It only lists the top 5. Do you want to know who they were?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So do you want to give any guesses, or do you want me to tell you? Just to
start with number 5.
Okay, number 5 is where it's tricky because this character has not actually shown up in the anime yet.
Okay, number 4 then.
Okay, number 5 is someone named Kyogoku. I don't know who they are. They have not shown up in the anime yet. Number 4 is Akitsu Akane. Number 3 is Elam. Number 2, that's Pencil Gone. And Sunraku won because, he's the main character. They usually win.
So, it's good to see Pencil Gone that high.
Yeah.
So
I was a little surprised to see that Kay wasn't on here, but I don't know. Maybe he's less important later on in the manga, or maybe Kyogoku is good. I'm just curious. Who is this character? I haven't seen them yet in the manga. They must only become relevant in the arc after the one that I read. So I'm reminded of when I looked at those Konosuba popularity polls. I'm looking, oh, wow, these characters got really high. I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
Whew. So yeah, it was. I think it was a good episode if you set aside the fact that it's not really a great season-ending episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought, while I think some parts of the season did spend an unfortunate amount of time kind of focusing on things that weren't as interesting as the first season, I think on the whole, it was still it was a pretty solid series, and I'm really interested in seeing the next season, although given we have no idea when it'll be. They didn't announce the date, so we will not be getting it for at least a year. Okay. And all right, that brings us to the end of Shangri-La Frontier. Right. I meant to say this. Let me just look this up. If you want to just be given it's a go read the manga ending, well, if you wanted to just go read the manga, you will want to start at chapter 127, which is in volume 14. You can read the manga. There's volume releases in English you can get. It is also available legally on the K-Manga app, which, it's actually still not that great of a manga reading app, but it has improved. And almost all the chapters are available for free. They just have this thing where you can only read so many per day, and which is kind of needlessly complicated, but it is there if you want to make sure you do it legally. And if you don't care about that, then you can I probably
figure
can't
it out.
You can figure it out. I don't know what kind, if I might get into some kind of legal trouble if I gave any more specifics, but once again, that's volume 14, chapter 127, which is where does the anime leave off.com had to say about it. That is such a useful site. All right, so we move on past that. We've got Hyouka episode 9.
Yeah, well, we are dropping this show because I've got really bored with it, and this episode pushed me over the edge because I'm like, it was just so boring, and basically, I don't know, they're trying to figure out the murderer in a movie that wasn't fully made. Like, I don't get it. Maybe you can explain what they're trying to do.
Well, the plot, as because this is a continuation of the previous episode, was that they were trying to make a school movie or a class movie, or actually I don't know if it was like really the class or just a bunch of people in there. So someone sorry about that. Let me just get a quick drink of water. Right. And it was going to be a murder mystery film, and they filmed a bunch of it, but it wasn't finished and it wasn't completely written either. So, the person who wrote it got sick and can't finish it. So they're trying to figure out who the culprit was in the movie so they can finish it. And so what's going on here is a bunch of people who I think worked on the movie are all offering their ideas on who the culprit was. And then our main characters just look into it and say, yeah, these are the reasons I don't think that works. So at the end of it, they still don't know who it is, and they're trying to figure out who the culprit was supposed to be. And yeah, that's basically what happened. They're still trying to figure out who the culprit in this movie was supposed to be. And throughout the whole thing, I'm just I want to keep saying, why don't you just ask the person who wrote it? I know they say she was sick. I can understand why she would be unable to finish writing it. But unless she is literally comatose, or has become like, or something. Why can she not just say this was the culprit? You don't even need to give the explanation. Just say who it was and they can figure out the rest. And I don't understand why no character asks about this either. They just accept, okay, she's sick. Why can't it, why does, or did they in the previous episode and I missed it? Why doesn't anyone just say, well, why not just ask them? Surely, like, they it must be possible to, even if they're sick, just ask them the name and that would be it. I've been legitimately wondering. Now, you said you wanted to drop it, and we will, because it actually makes things a little more convenient for what we're going to be doing next week. I think I'm at least going to watch the next few episodes to finish this arc, because I need to know, is there going to be some explanation for this? Is there going to be some kind of twist or something that makes this all make sense? Because I do have to, what was I going to say? There did seem to be like some hints that there's something weird going on in the production of the film, so maybe there's supposed to be a mystery behind the mystery, in which case that could be something. But I just, even if there is something there, I'm just so confused why none of the characters just say, well, why can't we ask them? If there's something, that's the problem. If there is some reason why they're deliberately keeping them from it, maybe they're just doing this as some sort of test for the characters. Maybe it's just a prank or an elaborate prank. But even if that is the explanation, I don't understand why none of them have asked to clarify why it's impossible to ask someone who the culprit was going to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the thing that just felt me really confusing. Also, at the end, it keeps asking at the end. It displayed this at the end of the previous episode also. It just displays, why didn't she ask EBA? Well, what's EBA? Is that supposed to be a mystery to us still?
No.
I don't know. I'm just wondering about that. Yeah, I'm probably going to be checking this out sometime just to get the answers on these things, and I guess I'll probably share them on the podcast. But yeah, that's like the thing. Even if there is, that's what I keep coming back to. Even if there is something behind it, I don't get why none of the characters are asking this question. That's the problem I've got. Okay. And I think that's all of it. So, okay. ReZero, episode 66. Okay, so let's see if I can. Right, so Beatrice shows up and she's able to fight off the gluttony, but then after they do manage to do that, the archbishop or archbishops, because there's apparently multiple ones of them, just say, yeah, okay, well, you know, we're pretty much at the end of the season. I guess it's time for us to just leave. So see you later. And then and then the characters said, okay, they're just going to leave. So yeah, everything's all good. They managed to I guess, capture one of the Sin archbishops. They killed another, and the others all just decided, well, just come back some later season, I guess. The one that they captured, that was Sirius, who is still crazy, just like everyone else, because she's talking about she thinks Beetlejuice has merged with Subaru or whatever. And finally, we do find out apparently that it kind of is thrown in at the very. I was surprised that this was just a point they ended at it with, but you know, I want to make a who's Rem joke, but I can't think of the right way to structure it. But basically, it turns out that Julius, or Julius, as I think they always say his name, that guy, yeah, he got who's remmed, basically, because it seems because after his fight with one of the other gluttony people, it seems everyone has forgotten who he was except for Subaru, who is the only one who remembers. And on that note, the season just ends. We'll be getting a new one sometime, though.
Yeah. The defining quote of this episode, I think, describes the entire problem with ReZero. And Liliana said it. She said, they were talking about Amelia, and she said, Amelia doesn't ever make any mistakes. And I'm like, yep, that's the problem. That's it. That is the problem. Amelia is perfect in this series. And the ultimate Mary Sue character. So I'm glad Liliana said the quiet part out loud, because it helps me realize that even the characters inside the show realize that Amelia is not good for the quality of the show, because she's always right. She does everything perfectly. She never makes any mistakes. And she's got the perfect attitude, the perfect view on life, and everything like that. And it's every reason I hate Amelia so bad. And I'm just glad Liliana said that before launching into a ton of songs, which I'm not sure if these songs are supposed to be bad, but they aren't very good. So I don't know if we're supposed to get that impression, like, okay, this is a really bad singer, but I'm sorry, they aren't too good.
I will say that I did notice that this was the first time I think I saw it. They actually subtitled it. They actually gave some subtitles for her song because they didn't bother to dub it. She's still singing Japanese, so they did in fact put in the some subtitles for it in the dub, which was nice. Although not if you have it's so weird because what you sometimes see in series like this is that if you have the closed captioning on, it won't give subtitles for that. But if you turn it on Crunchyroll from the subtitles to just like setting it instead of English CC, if you'd have it just set to English, then it will actually have the English translation of what she's singing. So yeah. So there's all of that. I do remember Subaru, I think in the first at some point did mention something about how he thought the lyrics, he'd say, well, the singing is good, but aren't the lyrics kind of cliche? So I think we did have that. That said, I don't think Amelia's perfect or anything. I'll admit that in this arc, she was kind of like that, but like in the season 2, I mean, she failed that test, that thing like multiple times until Subaru and Puck managed to basically change things for her, so she was able to overcome it. So there was that, definitely. There's also her backstory where she kind of messed everything up for the other elves, although I guess she kind of like sort of undid it, but not exactly, something like that. But back to the song subtitles, I don't think we had subtitles for that in the dub in the previous episodes. I don't know if I didn't have them set on right, or if they just didn't have them, or if they only started now, but that's the thing there. So, on to that. Let's see. On the whole, though, I thought this was a decent episode, and I thought this was, for the most part, of a few kind of weaker parts aside, I thought this season was pretty good. I thought it was a big improvement over the second.
I would say it was an improvement over the second, but not even close to the first. So that's where I rank it.
I don't think I would put it quite on the level of the first, but I think it was still pretty good. It definitely felt like a kind of abrupt ending because there was some stuff towards the end that the series didn't even really get to. Like, we only find out people forgot who Julius was. It was just very sudden rather than like something that was like, a bit more time was spent on in the original books. But we've got the next season coming up. Maybe that's when we'll try to fill in some of these things. So
yeah, the thing about Julius is no one really cares about him anyway. So so making that happen to him, well, I'm kind of glad because at least we're not taking away a good character like we decided to with Rem and Cruz. We lost two of the best characters, and they've been out on the sidelines for 2 whole seasons now. And so I'm kind of glad that if we're going to just take someone away, it's going to be someone who isn't quite necessary. I would have preferred it to be Garp, but we couldn't. They couldn't give me that. But at least they didn't take away someone good like Priscilla yet. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in the next arc, the next season, whenever it comes. I don't know too much of the specifics, but I think you would probably like it more than this because I know at least one character you don't like, I don't think has much of a part in it, and I know at least one character you do like has comes back for it. So with those points of vagueness, that makes me think, without knowing anything else about it, that maybe you'll end up liking it more. But I still like this, and I am going to be interested to see what happens in the next season.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll just mention once again from wheredoestheanimeLeaveOff.com, if you want to continue with ReZero and don't want to wait for the next season, you can start the light novel at volume 21. And if you want to look at the original web novel, because this was a web novel that was posted online, then it was just kind of turned into a light novel, and then now an anime, you would look at web novel arc 5 chapter 77.
Okay.
So that's how it goes. Also, you might want to take a look there. Yeah, there is just that stuff. One confusing thing that might be a little though is the fact that anime did skip over some things, so there, which of course the anime can always add in again when they get relevant, but some things, if you just go straight to the light novels, might be a little confusing. Again, this website, it actually gives it actually discusses it and mentions, they give a link to this extensive list. They said, I recommend looking at this extensive list of cut content that was not in the anime, which will help you jump into the story at any of the above points. For example, I'm really surprised. The anime has never mentioned that Alice, Priscilla's Knight, the one who's always, we haven't seen the face of because he's always got that sort of helmet on. Like, he's from Earth. That was like established like in his first appearance in the light novel, and it's just never been mentioned in the anime. I don't know. I mean, I guess it hasn't been relevant yet, but I'm just very surprised about the fact that we've gone.
They hinted at it. They hinted at it in this episode.
True,
but yeah, but I wouldn't have known if I didn't read his Wikipedia or whatever it's called, wiki page.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know it.
It's weird because apparently in one of like the sort of ReZero shorts that they put in, that's just stated, and yet it's not in the one of those like short anime things, but it's not in the main anime. So it's just going to feel like when it becomes relevant, they have to mention it. It'll be a little weird that they're just going to have to bring it up when in the actual series, Subaru has known about that since he like met the guy back in season 1. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say about it, but yeah, I thought this was pretty solid season. They managed to fix up a few of the issues that I had from the source material, I think, and they didn't change anything too big, but there were a few points where they fixed some stuff, and yeah, I don't have anything else to really say about that then. Okay, let's see. Right. So now that we've gone through all that, I wanted to discuss some things about what we're going to be doing going forward. So, because we decided that what we're going to do, well, there's a whole lot of new series that are always coming out. The spring anime season started about a month ago, and we decided, because we've just got this, suddenly got all this new space, because, you know, we finished 2 series, we dropped 1, we've just got Yu Yu Hakusho, that we're going to actually give a big look at a lot of the new series that premiered this season. Now, we aren't going to do every single one because there's like more than 30 of them. That's way too much. We got to cut it down somehow. So we decided, okay, we'll just use the series that actually have dubs available for them and that are on Crunchyroll and Amazon, because those are the 2 services we both subscribe to. And yeah, which conveniently is exactly 16. We're just going to basically do a March Madness style bracket for all of these, and we're planning to basically go until we end up with 4 and then just kind of choose some number of them to be watching going forward. The reason we're doing that rather than just going straight down to 2 is because, well, what happens if we end up with the 2 series we most want to watch going up against each other in that round?
Yeah.
So, there's still a chance, unfortunately, even before we get to that point, 2 series we like might end up going head to head, but hopefully that won't happen. Anyway, for anyone who is curious, this is the order. We have seeded these according to My Anime List ratings as of right now, although these things are constantly shifting, so it might change. Here's them all in order 1 to 16. Number 1, 2B Hero X. Number 2, Anne Shirley. Number 3, Kowloon Generic Romance. Number 4, Mono. Number 5, Mobile Suit Gundam G Quacks. I really hope I pronounced that right. Number 6, My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Number 7, Witch Watch. Number 8, From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. You know, this made me listing all of them sounded a lot like it sounded like a much better idea before I actually started reading them all out. But number 9, Once Upon a Witch's Death. 10, The Shiunji Family Children. 11, The Unaware Atelier Meister. 12, The Gorilla Gods Go 2 Girl. 13, Teogonia. 14, The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows. 15, The Dinner Table Detective. And 16, The Beginning After the End. So yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. What were 14 and 15 again?
14 was The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows, and 15 was The Dinner Table Detective.
Okay.
So I mentioned all that because unfortunately I can't actually, since this is an audio podcast, I can't really just show you how it all fits together. But if anyone's curious, I guess you can put that into some sort of bracket maker thing. So what we're going to be doing is we set it up like that. We'll be watching the series, and in round 1, of course, we'll just watch 1 episode of each of them. And when 2 series go against each other, the one we think was better, we'll just go on to the next round for a second episode, and we'll be matched up against another series that won its first round. You know, I mean, like, look, you know how March Madness works. Probably it's just that,
right.
except without the betting and stuff. So yeah. So for next week, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be watching 2B Hero X, The Beginning After the End, From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman, and Once Upon a Witch's Death. Those are the 4 we'll be doing, and let's see. And yeah, so if you want to go along with us and watch all these things, then that's what we'll be doing.
Wait, so it's the 1 and 16 and the 8 and 9?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
That's at least the order that I've got on that I have on this thing. If I need to, hang on, let me just double check something quick here. make sure that I'm looking at the right ones. I think, yeah, that's what we're going to do it there. So then we'll see how those goes, and then we'll do another batch the week after, another batch the week after. We'll just keep going like that till we get down to 4. Then we'll be watching those, and that'll be, of course, in the third round, meaning that those are those final 4 series. We'll have 3 episodes of we'll watch. So yeah, hey, it's the 3 episode rule in action, kind of. All right. So we'll see how this works. Hopefully this will let us discover some new series that we probably never would have checked out before and will enjoy. And hopefully we won't be, after 2 weeks of this, starting to think, why did we do this? Why? I'm sure we're going to have some bad series that we'll see and some good series that we'll see. So that's how it's all going to go for everyone. And that'll be it. So for next week, we'll be watching our regular episode of Yu Yu Hakusho, and we'll be watching the first episode of To Be Hero X, The Beginning After the End, From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman, and Once Upon a Witch's Death. For the record, 4 of those series, From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman, that's on Amazon Video. The others are on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
Whew. Okay. Feels like... I'm saying I feels like I've been talking for a while. I don't think we've been doing this much longer than normal. I'm just remembering all the talking we did for the half hour before when we were trying to get everything to work. Whew. All right. Before we finally get to the look back discussion, before we forget, what's our favorite non-Toonami and favorite Toonami series this week?
Favorite Toonami was One Piece, and favorite non-Toonami again was Shangri-La Frontier.
For me, my favorite on Toonami would have been Lazarus, and my favorite of the non-Toonami series is a tricky one. I liked Shangri-La Frontier, and I also liked ReZero. I'm trying to figure out how much of what I was thinking of Shangri-La Frontier was actually from this episode and how much of it was from the remaining, I don't know, like 40 or... I don't know. Whoops. Sorry. I dropped something there from all the chapters I read afterwards. But which one? What? That's a very difficult decision. Well, I guess I'll be the contrarian to you and say ReZero. Okay, so we decided to. I picked it because it had gotten some decent reviews, so I thought it might be interesting, and it wasn't terribly long. We did watch the anime film Look Back, and yeah. So I guess before we get into any possible spoiler talk, do you wanna just say what you overall thought about it, liked, disliked, or anything?
Yeah, so this was probably the best anime thing I've seen since Oshi no Ko, and it made me feel something, which is kind of rare. Like most of the time, there isn't any anime that really makes me feel something unless it's really good, like Oshi no Ko's first season was. So. This made me feel sad and feel emotional. It definitely had a lot of very well-written things about it. My problem with it was it never really gave a nice cathartic ending where we could get some sort of real resolution. It was just kind of like, okay, that's the way things are now. Goodbye. And you're never going to see them again. So you're never going to see her again. So, I hope you like it. And I read something about the creator of this thing, like really rushed the ending or something, or he really had to work like really hard to get it finished in time or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how true that statement is, but it did seem that way because it was like at a certain point, it was like, okay, we don't really have an ending, so we're just gonna kind of make it up as we go along. So I gave this an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good, but it didn't have enough of a satisfying ending. It didn't have to be a happy ending. It just needed to be an ending. And there really was no ending to this. So that's my problem with it.
I thought it was, I agree. That I think the last part of it was kind of the weaker part of it. It gets kind of confusing, and I think I thought it was more of a conclusion than you did, but maybe I think I understood it a little better. It was kind of confusing how it ends. So in terms of the author, I think I saw something about that when I watched it on Amazon. Some sort of thing popped up, like trivia or something, that someone mentioned working on it. I think that was the person who made the anime. Was that the anime or was that the manga? Because this was based on a manga. It was. Whoa! I am so very sorry about that. My phone just suddenly turned on to give me a public safety alert about something, which is and it's not anywhere. It's not actually near me, so I apologize for.
Is it? What is it?
Oh, it's just saying it's something public safety alert. It's something called a what even is this, just something called a silver alert. Yeah, silver alert. That's for like that's something for like a missing person, like, you know, who like might have dementia or something, who's wandering around. Okay. So yeah, I think we both enjoyed it, but in regards to the ending, I think we have to get into spoilers. But before that, I will just because it's honestly hard to talk about this without getting into spoilers, because it's kind of short, and you can't really say much about the plot outside of, well, it's about this girl who's trying to get into manga and drawing. So, all right, spoiler time. I think it worked okay as an ending, but what was just kind of confusing was what happened at the end, because what happened was when she kind of rips up the comic, and then part of it, just one panel, falls underneath the door, and then it goes into some like alternate timeline, apparently, where where the other character, what was her name? I can remember Fujino's name, but I can't remember the other girl's name offhand. But because she didn't get the full comic in that one, she didn't go outside in time to meet with Fujino, which then kicks off the rest of the plot. So as a result of the things working differently, Fujino didn't actually get back into manga and just stayed with karate, which is how she was able to save. What was her? I feel so dumb. I cannot remember. Okay, Kiyomoto.
Starts with an O.
Last name Kiyomoto. What was the other? What was her first name though? I'm looking at this whole Wikipedia article. Just says her last name. It doesn't say the full the other name. But yeah. So then so she survives because she was killed.
Kiyomoto.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that was it. I thought. Did they actually say the full name, or did we only learn Kiyomoto?
That's all I got.
Yeah.
So.
Well, basically, the ending was then in that alternate timeline. She then makes a comic which falls under the door, comes back to our original timeline, which then when Fujino sees it, and it kind of inspires her to get over her grief and go back to making the manga that she had put on hiatus because of, dealing with the grief. So I think we kind of got a conclusion there, but but it was kind of a bit of a messy one. So that was what I thought.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good description that helps me understand it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a little too confusing, and yeah,
but yeah, even with the sort of kind of confusing ending and sort of introducing that sort of fantasy element, yeah, it was pretty solid, pretty good. I recommend it. I looked at the manga and compared it. It's a pretty faithful adaptation, but they did do a good job, I guess, adapting it to an anime, making like the right sort of changes for it. So yeah, I don't know if there's too much else to say about it, although it is funny because the manga, do you know who made the manga, any of the other the manga this was based on? Do you know that was by a guy named Tatsuki Fujimoto? Do you know any of the other series he made?
No.
Okay, this might blow your mind a little because it's so different, but he's also the person who wrote Chainsaw Man. Pretty different series.
Else?
What?
Anything else?
Yeah, also Fire Punch, Goodbye Eri, and those are the main manga he's made.
Okay.
So yeah, some very different series there. I think this one got a much better anime adaptation than Chainsaw Man did, but we'll there. So yeah, I don't have too much else to say about it. It's just a good film, even if it does get a little weird towards the end. But I'm glad I finally got around to watching it. Whew. And that is that. That was a kind of, I guess, a bit of a brief discussion. I'm sorry, while we liked it, I don't know if there's that much we could really say about it, given its kind of shortness.
Yeah.
Okay. And all right, I don't think there's anything else to say. So for next week, we'll be back with a very different slate of series that we're going to be watching. Yeah. And we'll see if we end up thinking, wow, this was actually really good and fun and interesting, or if we'll say, wow, this was a bad idea. We watched some pretty bad stuff here. So we'll see. The good news about this is that if there's a series you don't like, you can just give the win to the other series and don't have to watch it again.
Yeah.
All right. So one more last time. We've got Yu Yu Hakusho, To Be Hero X, the beginning after the end, from Old Country Bumpkin to Mr. Swordsman and Once Upon a Witch's Death. And yeah, we are choosing To Be Hero X, even if there does seem to be some debate about whether it technically counts as anime, because apparently a bunch of it was done in China. So I don't know. All I know is that apparently the Reddit, the anime subreddit, has banned it, and you don't get to have because they don't consider it anime. But whatever, it's on my anime list, okay? Although, to be fair, they've got a pretty arbitrary criteria also sometimes. And that is that. Whew. And yeah, we're at the obligatory part of the episode where at the end I end up just kind of stammering and trying to find a good way to end things. And without further ado, we'll say we're done, and we'll see you next week, where we'll be finishing off this part of Blue Exorcist, and then we'll be discussing other series. Yeah, that's all I got. We'll try to do better next time.
Bye.
Hey there, Toonami faithful. Got some good news.
Toonami's bringing back Saturday morning.
I'm sure you've heard of us.
3 hours of quality Toonami programming, and it's not even a school day. Starting at 9.
inside your computer. Reboot. Then the Roman warriors have returned to fight for our souls.
I will get rid of you once and for all!
Enter the world of Dot Hack Side at 10.
Are you ready? Let's go!
10:30, Ultra. The mighty robot is needed once more.
Nothing can stop us!
Next, Batman.
Let's hear it for him!
And the Powerpuff Girls at 11:30. Toonami, The Rising Sun. Saturday from 9 to noon. A day which will live in infamy.